So today we will discuss rank of a matrix. Okay. So I think you learned this concept already in your intermediate. Okay. Can anyone explain what do you mean by rank of a matrix? When can I say the matrix is having rank R? Anyone?
Number of non-zero rows or columns after turning the matrix into echelon form.
That is a method to find out the rank of the matrix. I agree, but that is not the definition, right? So you used a word echelon form,
Yes.
but we don't know what is echelon form, no? Yet. So how do we define rank of a matrix?
Sir, if the determinant of the submatrix is not equal to 0, then the rank of the matrix is equal to the order of the submatrix.
Partially true, but there is an additional condition because there are several submatrices. Suppose if I give you some 6 by 6 submatrix, if I give you 6 by 6 matrix, I can find a determinant of 4 by 4 submatrix, which is non-zero. I can find determinant of a 3 by 3 submatrix having a non-zero determinant. So like
Highest,
that there can
Highest order.
highest one,
highest order.
submatrix.
uh, submatrix having non-zero determinant having highest order, right? So how do we define? Okay, write down. Suppose A is a matrix, not necessarily square matrix, right? Suppose A is a matrix of order m by n. Okay, then a number R, a number R is said to be rank of the matrix. Rank of the matrix A if it satisfies the following conditions. What are the conditions? First condition we said there exists a submatrix of order R having non-zero determinant. What is the next condition? Second condition will be the determinant of every submatrix of order R plus 1 if exists, because we don't know R plus 1 order exists or not. Okay, so if at all there is a submatrix R plus 1, its determinant must be 0. If it is satisfying these two conditions, we say R is the rank of the matrix, right? So in that case, what is the notation? What is notation for rank of a matrix? It is like this: rank of a row of A is equals to R. You agree? So we'll take some examples. We'll take an example for something like A equals to, okay, so 1 2 0 0, okay, 2 minus 1 0, Okay, let us take a matrix like this. What is its order? It is a 2 by 3 matrix. It is a 2 by 3 matrix. Now, what can you say about rank of this matrix?
Rank is
Can I say rank of this matrix is 2?
yes, sir.
If I want to say rank of this matrix is 2, I should be able to find a submatrix of order 2 having a non-zero determinant. There are how many submatrices of order 2 are there?
2.
This is one
3, sir.
submatrix. This is one submatrix. This is another submatrix. And if I omit 2 minus 1, 1 0 2 0 is also another submatrix. So if I consider this submatrix, what is its determinant? 0. AD minus BC. Right? If I consider if I consider 1 0 2 0, that determinant is also 0. But if I consider 1 2 2 minus 1, what is its determinant? Minus 1 minus 4 means minus 5 non-zero. So I'm able to find a I'm able to find a submatrix of order 2 having non-zero determinant. Therefore, is that condition alone is sufficient? First condition is satisfied, right? First condition is satisfied. What about the second condition? If I want to say rank of the matrix is 2, then you have to see that every submatrices of order r plus 1, if exist, must be having 0 determinant. In this, if I say r equals to 2, then what is r plus 1? R plus 1 equal to 2 plus 1 equal to 3. Do you find a submatrix of order 3? Do you find a submatrix of order 3?
So,
Submatrix you cannot find because it is containing only 2 rows. Order 3 means 3 rows, 3 columns should be there. There are 2. That's why I am telling if exist. If exist, check the second condition. If such order does not exist, no need to check the second condition. Do you agree? So in this case, no need to check the second condition because there is no submatrix of order r plus 1. So first condition itself is sufficient for us to say that rank of the matrix is 2. So this is an example. So now let us consider another example. Now I just slightly modify this matrix. If I say A equals to 1 2 0 0, 2 minus 1 0 0, 0 0 0 0, 0 0 0 0. Is that okay? Now what I can say? This is a 4 by 4 submatrix. What could be the rank of the matrix? Again? 2. Why 2? Because I am able to find a submatrix of order 2 having non-zero determinant. This is a submatrix of order 2 having non-zero determinant. Minus 1 minus 4 is minus 5 non-zero determinant. So first condition is satisfied. First condition is satisfied. But what is the second condition? The determinant of every submatrix of order r plus 1 if exist must be 0. So when I say this is r equal to 2, what will be r plus 1?
3.
2 plus 1 equal to 3. So you take any submatrix of order 3, its determinant must be 0. You take this submatrix. What is its determinant? 0. You take this submatrix. What is its determinant? 0. You take this submatrix. What is its determinant? 0. Like that, you take any submatrix of order r plus 1. That means in this case, you take any submatrix of order 3. You notice that all its determinants are zeros. Therefore, we can say that this r equal to 2 is satisfying both the conditions. Therefore, rank of the matrix is. Is that okay? It has to satisfy all the conditions. So if at all r plus 1 order is there, that one also you have to check. Okay. So now we shall see some properties of rank of the matrix. Okay. Now, what are your observations? Do you mean to say so properties? So all of you make all of you make notes of this lecture, okay? Properties of rank. Okay. So, what is the first property? Can you say that rank exists for every matrix? Or rank does not exist for any matrix?
Rank exists for every matrix.
So,
Null matrix.
yeah. The null matrix also will have rank, no? Rank of every matrix. Some observations, okay? Matrix exists. Not only exists, and it is unique. Right? Rank is only one. For a matrix, you will not have two ranks. Okay? So, rank of a matrix exists for every matrix, and it is unique. Now, if it is a null matrix, how do we define the rank of matrix? Rank of a null matrix defined as 0.
0.
Rank of a null matrix is defined 0. Okay. Now, if it is a non-zero matrix, then what will be the minimum value of the rank?
1.
Suppose
One.
if I take some non-zero matrix 2 0 0 0 0 0, it is of order 2 by 3. What is its rank?
1, sir.
2 submatrix.
Because
1.
I'm able to find out a 1 by 1 submatrix having non-zero determinant. No, what is the determinant of a 1 by 1 submatrix? The number itself. Is that okay? Therefore, if it is a non-zero matrix, minimum value of the rank is
1.
1. Okay. So how do we say this? Rank of a non-zero matrix. Okay. Rank of a non-zero matrix, or you can say like this: rank of a matrix is non-zero matrix. Rank of a, it is right like this: rank of a non-zero matrix. At least one. Now, can rank exceeds number of rows or columns? Suppose if I give you some
No.
3 by 5 matrix, if I give you some 3 by 5 matrix, can you find rank 4?
No,
No.
sir.
You cannot find 4 rows in a 3 by 5 matrix, right? Similarly, if I give 5 by 3 matrix, can you find rank 4?
No, sir.
No. So
No, sir.
rank cannot exceed number of rows as well as number of columns, right? So how do you say that? If A is a matrix of order m by n, then rank of A always less than or equal to what you can say? Minimum of m and n. Okay. Suppose if I give 3 by 10 matrix, what is the minimum of 3 and 10? 3. So rank is always less than or equal to 3. It will not exceed 3, right? But it can be up to 3. Is that okay? So what is the next one? Fourth one? Oh, sorry, fifth one. Rank of AB. If it is a product, okay, then this is less than or equal to minimum of rank. Next one, suppose for a square matrices, okay, let us say A is a matrix of order n. Suppose A is a matrix of, or to be precise, square matrix of order n. Okay? Then what can you say about rank of the matrix? If a square matrix will have determinant. If the determinant is 0, we say it is singular. If the determinant is non-zero, then it is said to be non-singular. Okay. So what can you say in this case? If determinant of a if if I say determinant of A is not equal to 0, then what can you say about rank?
N.
N, because that is the largest submatrix of order n. No, the definition itself telling rank is nothing but the largest order of the submatrix having non-zero determinant, right? So if determinant of A is non-zero, then rank of the square matrix is n. Now if the determinant is 0, what can you say?
Less than N.
You will say that rank will be less than n, because it cannot be n, because for a rank to be order n, determinant to be non-zero. But here when I say determinant is 0, rank will be less than n. Suppose if I give you some 6 by 6 matrix, if I give you matrix of order 6, okay, if its determinant is 0, then we can say that its rank will not be 6, but its rank can be 5 or 4 or 3 or 2, depends on the type of matrix. We cannot say that determinant is 5. Is that okay? So it can be 5 or 4 or 3 or 2. So this is an important property. This is true only for square matrices. Remember, if I give you a matrix of order n, if it is a square matrix, if the determinant is 0, then definitely its rank will not be that order. Okay, for a non-singular matrix, determinant non-zero means order is going to be rank. Any other property? Any other observations you have? One more property is there. That is. Both A and A transpose will have same rank. Rank of A is equal to rank of A transpose. Because we know determinant of A equal to determinant of A transpose. Okay, the property will be useful to observe that both A and A transpose will have same ranks. Okay, so did you make a note of all this? Can I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now so definition is there, but it is practically useful to check to find out the rank of the matrix up to 3 by 3 or at most 4 by 4. 10 by 10 submatrix. If I give you some 10 by 10 matrix, will the definition useful to find out the rank of the matrix? For it, if I give you some 10 by 10 matrix, okay, you have to find out 10 by 10 determinant first. If it is non-zero, then 10 will be the rank. If the determinant is 0, then you have to look for any 9 non-zero determinant. If all non-binary determinants are 0, then you have to look for 8 by 8 determinants. If all 8 by 8 determinants are 0, then you have to look for 7 by 7 determinants. Suppose the rank of the matrix is only 2, then how much time it will take? How many computations it will take? So practically it will be highly difficult to compute the rank of the matrix using the definition. Is that right? Using definition you can find up to 3 by 3 easily. But 4 by 4 also difficult to find out using the definition. So we should have some other way to find out the rank of the matrix easily. So what is that way? Through echelon form, right? Through row operations you can find out the rank of the matrix. Am I right? So before going to the row operations, before going to the echelon matrix, we shall transformations on the matrix. Okay. So put this heading in the next page. Elementary transformations. Elementary transformations on the matrix. Elementary transformations on the matrix. Okay. So first one is row operations. Row operations. Row operations. So what are the row operations? Remember, from now onwards, whenever I say matrix, by default you assume that that is a matrix of order m by n. It can be to a square matrix or it can be non-square matrix. By default it is of order m by n. No need to tell every time suppose A is a matrix of order m by n. Is that okay? Because rank exists for every matrix, not necessarily square matrix. Okay. So whatever the matrix I consider, it is of order m by n. Okay. So what are the row operations? First one, I can interchange any row with any other row, right? So I can interchange ith row with jth row. I can interchange ith row with jth row. Okay. Second one, I can replace ith row with some k times ith row, where k is non-zero scalar. Okay. What is the third one? I can replace ith row with ith row plus some k times jth row, where k is non-zero. All these row operations are applicable for a matrix. For example, I have something like this: 1 2 1 3 2 1 0 1 2. Okay. So if I say R1 interchange with R3, what do you mean by that? First place, put third row in the first row, first row you put in the third row, right? So that means what I should write: 0 1 2 3 2 1 1 2. Is that okay? Now should I put equal to here? Can I write equal to? My question is, can I write equal to?
Yes.
No.
Equivalent.
Why I cannot?
Equivalent.
We can write, sir, that equivalent
Elements are not equal.
Yeah, I cannot write. I cannot write.
equal to equivalent.
I cannot write equal to, because two matrices are equal only when the corresponding entries are equal. One is not equal to 0. Therefore, these two are not equal. So I should not say equal. Okay. What symbol I should put? I will tell you. Okay. For the time being, just write as it is. What is the relation? I will tell you later. Similarly, I can replace R2 with some 2 times R2. Then what do I get? 0 1 2. I can replace first row with first row plus some 2 times third row. So what I can do? So 0 plus minus 2 times third row. Minus 2 into 1 is minus 2. So minus 2, 1 minus 4. 1 minus 4 is minus 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. 6, 4, 2, 1 to 1. These operations are allowed. These operations are allowed in a matrix. All these operations are called what? Elementary row transformations. Elementary transformations, in particular, they are row operations. Is that okay? Similarly, instead of row operations, you can have column operations also. What are column operations? So just replace the word. Just replace the word row with the column. Just replace the letter R with C. COLU, column operations. Okay. So So what is the first condition? You can interchange ith column with jth column, or you can replace ith column with hello. There is some problem with writing. Distill pen. Just replace the word. Then replace the word R with C. Just hold on. Right. Replacing ith row with k times, replacing ith column with k times ith column, where k is non-zero. Similarly, what is the third one? Replacing ith column with ith column plus k th column, where k not equal to 0. Okay. So whatever the example I have given, replace these row operations with column operations. You will notice that in this case I can say, for the same matrix I can apply C1 gets, okay, C1 plus C2. Then what is the matrix I will get? Minus 2 minus 3 is minus 5, 10, 1 plus 2 is 3, minus 3, 4, 2, 0, 2, 1. Okay. So like this I can apply the remaining operations also. So any row or column operation is said to be an elementary transformation or elementary operation. Okay. So I can apply some row operations followed by some column operations, or only row operations or only column operations. Okay. So these are all some elementary operations. Now what do you mean by equivalent matrices? Okay. So write down the definition. Equivalent matrices. Okay. Write down the definition. Two matrices are said to be, okay, or you can write like this: a matrix A is said to equivalent to B if it is possible to obtain. Are you able to hear? Are you able to follow me? Matrix B from A by a finite sequence of elementary transformations. We say a matrix is equivalent to another matrix B if it is possible to obtain matrix B from A by a finite sequence of elementary transformations. such a matrix is said to be equivalent matrix. Okay, so notation. Notation A is equivalent to B. A is equivalent to B. Okay, let us take the matrix this. This is a matrix A. If I say this is a matrix B, now you can see the matrix B is obtained. The matrix B is obtained from A by a finite sequence of elementary transformations. Those transformations can be row or column operations. Therefore, in this case, we can say that A is equivalent to B. Tilde A is equivalent to B. So these two are equivalent matrices. So now you see these two are also equivalent. This matrix is obtained from A by a finite row operations. So can I put equivalent here because these two are equivalent? Is that okay? These two are equivalent. These two are equivalent. We should not put equal to, but we can put equivalent. Okay. So these are all equivalent matrices. Never put equality here, but you can put equivalent symbol. Okay. Now, what are the properties of equality of equivalence of matrices? Okay. First one, can you say that A is equivalent to A for all matrix? Every matrix is equivalent to itself because I can say that R1 gets 1 into R1. R1 gets 1 into R1. You will get to the same matrix. Therefore, you can say that every matrix is obtained from A by a single elementary. For these two are equivalent. What is that relation called? If I say A is related to A for every A, what kind of relation that is called?
Self.
Huh? That relation is called reflexive. You remember reflexive relation? Second one, if A is equivalent to B, then you can always say that B is also equivalent to A. You obtained B from A. Can't you obtain A from B? If A is given, you are able to get B through elementary operations. In a similar manner, if B is given, can you get A? It is always possible, no?
Yes, sir.
So what is that property called? If A is equivalent to B, then B is always equivalent to A. What kind of property this is? Right. This is called symmetry.
Symmetric.
Next one. If A is equivalent to B and B is equivalent to C, then what can I say?
A is equivalent to C.
A equivalent to C.
What is that property called?
Transitive.
Right. So any relation satisfying reflexive, symmetric, and transitive is called
Equivalent.
equivalent relation.
Equivalent.
Therefore, the relation or equivalence is an equivalence relation. Okay. Equivalence reflexive, symmetric, and transitive. Okay. So in this case, it is satisfying all the conditions. Therefore, the relation name equivalent is a equivalence relation. Okay. Now there is a theorem. Right. Very important and useful theorem. Write down. Okay. Equivalent matrices will have same rank. If A and B are equivalent, then the ranks will be same. Equivalent matrices will have same rank. That means what?
order.
That means what? If A is equivalent to B, A is equivalent to B implies rank of A is equals to rank of B. Is that okay? So how this is useful? So this is useful. This result is, we use this result to find out the rank of a matrix. What we do? We convert a matrix into echelon form by row operations. When I apply row operations, then the resultant matrix and the original matrix will be equivalent matrices, and it will be easy for me to find out rank of the reduced matrix. The same rank will be applicable to the original matrix because these two are equivalent matrices. Is that okay? So in that way, this result will be very much useful to identify the rank. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the next page, we will see the definition of echelon matrix first. Can you tell me? Can anyone tell me the definition of an echelon matrix? When can I say a matrix is said to be in echelon form? Suppose A is a matrix of order n by n. Okay. A is shall I say E instead of A? I'll call it as E. Suppose E is a echelon matrix. Sorry. Suppose E is said to be, E is a matrix of order n. Then E is said to be an echelon matrix. If what are the conditions? When can I say matrix will be in echelon form? Or when can I say the matrix is an echelon matrix?
All 0 rows are at the bottom of the matrix.
Right. So 0 rows, if any. Okay, because we don't know 0 rows exist or not, right? 0 rows, if any, must be after all the non-zero rows. Correct. What could be the next condition? The number of zeros. The number of zeros before the, how do you pronounce this? Why pipe? Is it pivot or pivot? Because we call this as pilot. This should be
Pivot.
pivot. Pivot or pivot?
Pivot.
I prefer to call it as pivot. I don't know whether that pronunciation is right or wrong. You just Google it. Okay. So the number of, what is pivot? I will tell you. The number of zeros before the pivot, okay, should increase. Row by row. Okay. The number of zeros before the pivot in a non-zero row must be less than number of such zeros. Okay. So now what is pivot? The number of zeros before the pivot in a non-zero row must be less than the number of such zeros in the next row. Pivot is nothing but the first non-zero entry in a row. The first non-zero entry in a row is said to be the pivot. Okay, where pivot is the first. I'll write it as a note. Is the first non-zero entry in a row. It is also called as leading element. So leading element or pivot element are same. So in what type of matrices pivot will exist? Rows only, non-zero rows only, pivot will exist, right? So I will write some examples. Now you tell me whether they are echelon matrices or not. Okay. So the point is, which one of the following are echelon matrices? The question can be like this. Which of the following matrices are echelon matrices? Which of the following matrices are echelon matrices? I will be writing few matrices. You identify which one of them are echelon matrices. Okay. So I will be writing few matrices. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 1 minus 1. Is this an echelon matrix?
No.
Why it is not an echelon matrix?
Because zeros.
Because there is a zero row between two non-zero rows. It is failing to satisfy the first condition, no? If at all any zero row is there, it should be after all the non-zero rows. Okay. Now if I write like this, p equal to 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is this a echelon matrix?
No.
No. Again, it is failing to satisfy the first condition. Right? Zero row should be at the end, not at the top. Okay. Next, if I say like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. Can I say this is an echelon matrix?
Yes, sir.
Is this echelon matrix or not? It is satisfying the first condition. There is a zero row which is after all the non-zero rows. Is the first condition alone sufficient? You have to check the second condition also. No, the number of zeros before the pivot is in a non-zero row must be less than the number of such zeros in a next row. First, identify the pivot elements. In each row, identify the pivot element. What do you mean by pivot? First non-zero entry. In the first row, what is the pivot? 1.
1.
Always round the pivot elements. Always round the pivot elements. What is the pivot in the second row?
4.
4.
How many zeros are there before first pivot? 0.
0.
So in the second row there must be at least one entry before the pivot. 1 0 entry. Before 4 how many zeros are there? 0.
0.
Before 1 0 is there. Before 4 also 0 is there. Is 0 less than 0? No.
No.
Therefore, this cannot be called as an echelon matrix, right? Therefore, if I take D equal to something like this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 0, okay, 0, minus 2, 3, 0, 0, 4, 5. Is this an echelon matrix?
No.
First of all, is the first condition satisfied? Is the first
It is
condition
satisfied.
It is
Yes, it is
satisfied.
satisfied.
Yes.
Why? Because you have to check whether zero rows are after non-zero rows are not are there or not. There is no zero row. If at all there is a zero row, that must be after non-zero rows. So there is no question of checking the first condition, because there is no need to check the first condition there, because there is no zero row. Check the second condition. If you want to check the second condition, first you have to identify the pivots. What are the pivots in each row?
1
One. Second row, what is the pivot?
-2
-2. What is the pivot in the third row?
4
First non-zero entry. Now you check whether the number of zeros before the pivots are increasing or not. Strictly increasing manner. Before 1, how many are there?
0
0. Before -2, how many are there?
2
2.
Three.
Is 0 less than 2?
yes.
Yes.
Therefore, can I say that it is echelon matrix?
No, last one. Last
You
one.
have to check that condition for every 2 consecutive rows, right? Now, before 4, how many are there?
2
Is 2 less than 2?
No,
No.
No. Therefore, is the second condition satisfied?
no,
No. Therefore, is this echelon matrix?
no, it's
No.
not an echelon.
This is not an echelon matrix. Okay, so the number of zeros should increase row by row. Then only we say it is an echelon matrix. Okay, so when I say, so ideally we got the letter E. Okay, so now if I say something like this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, 2, -2, 1, 0. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 0, -4. If I say 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, it is a 4 by 4 matrix. Okay, or let me omit the last row for the time being. What is the order of this matrix? This is a 3 by 4 matrix, no? 3 by 5 matrix. 5. Okay, fine. I can therefore I can include the last row also. Still you get a non-square matrix. So it is a 4 by 4 matrix. Now is it an echelon matrix or not? Is the first condition satisfied?
Yes, it's echelon.
First
Yes, it
condition
is
is
satisfied.
satisfied. Because zero row is there. That is after all the non-zero rows. Therefore, first condition is satisfied. Okay. Now identify the pivots. 1,
-2,
-2,
-4,
-4. Before 1, how many are there?
1,
1. Before -2, how many are there? 2.
2,
Before -4, how many are there?
4.
4.
Are these number of zeros increasing? 1 less than 2, 2 less than 4. So that's it. Therefore, this is a echelon matrix.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you observe that in an echelon matrix, the pivot portion is moving towards the right. The pivot portion is moving towards right. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
In
Yes,
this case,
sir.
the pivot portion is not moving right. Is that okay? Even if I write like this, in this case, this is the pivot. Now here the pivot portion is moving towards left. Therefore, is it an echelon matrix? No.
No.
Before 2, 1 is there. Before 4, 0 is there. 1 not less than 0. Therefore, this is also not an echelon matrix, right? Always pivot portion should move towards right side. Then only we say it is an echelon matrix. Is that okay? So I'll just write one more. So if I write like this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, -2, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, -4. Is this echelon matrix?
Yes,
Yes.
It's an echelon matrix because no need to check the first condition. No need to check the first condition. Second condition is satisfied because the pivot positions are moving towards right side. Therefore, last two matrices are echelon matrices. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So in your notebook, write your own examples like this for some echelon matrices, for some non-echelon matrices. Is that clear? If you want, you can copy this, but you also can append some more examples for echelon as well as non-echelon matrices.
Sir, I googled it. It's actually pivot.
Pivot, huh? Okay. But
Pivot. And the meaning is
still,
also the same thing, the central point on which something turns or
uh,
balances.
you're talking about phonetic.
Yes, sir.
It is calling it as pivot, huh?
Yes, sir.
But I'm habituated to call it as pivot because from the past 18
That's
years,
okay, sir.
let me call it as. Okay, so you can you can call in your own matrix. Right. Is this fine?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
now, what is the idea? So, what is the theorem based on this echelon form? Result. Okay. So here in the above example, okay, I'll write note. Okay. In the above examples, only matrices E and F are echelon matrices. So this is over. Okay, echelon matrices. Now, what is the result I am talking about? Okay, the rank of echelon matrix. The rank of an echelon matrix is what? Now, what can you say about rank of this matrix? E
3.
1, 2, 3. It is the number of non-zero rows. Am I right? Because you can find out a submatrix of order 3 having non-zero determinant. Every submatrices of order 4 is going to be having determinant 0. So that is the advantage of matrices. Just by looking at the number of non-zero rows in it, you can identify the rank of the matrix. So the rank of an echelon matrix is the number of non-zero rows present in it. The number of non-zero rows present in it. Okay. Therefore, it's an important result. Therefore, in the example, in the above example, therefore, what will the rank of the matrix? Rank of E
3.
is equals to 4.
3.
Sorry. Equal to 3. The number of non-zero rows of E in the above example. Okay. Now what is the idea? Now, if a matrix is given, I'll convert this matrix into echelon form by row operations. By only row operations. Conventionally, we use only row operations. You can apply only column operations also. So if then I will find out what is the rank of this matrix by identifying the number of non-zero rows. Then what will be the rank of A? Because these two are
Same as
equivalent,
E.
same as E, because equivalent matrices will have same rank, I
Same
said.
rank.
Is that okay? So in the next class, what we'll do, we'll we'll see how to reduce a given matrix. We'll see how to reduce a given matrix into echelon form and find out the rank of the matrix. Okay, and in a systematic manner. I know you learned the method of converting a matrix into echelon form, but I don't know whether that was a systematic way of converting or not. Next class I will explain a systematic way of converting a given any matrix into echelon form. Okay, so don't absent for tomorrow's class. That is very important class, because most of the discussion lies in converting a given matrix into echelon form. So if you are good at converting a matrix into echelon form and find the rank, I think most of the matrix theory you can do it easily. Is that okay? So I'll stop today's class with this. So in tomorrow's class, we'll see different examples to find out rank of a matrix through echelon form method. Okay, so stay back. Let me take the attendance.